Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, it's been nearly a week after New Year's Evil. As you probably witnessed, Oba Femi relinquished the NXT Championship. So that means, of course, the gates are wide open. The real question we're probably going to ask ourselves, where do we go from here? So we'll see exactly what the general manager Ava has in store. And of course, we have plenty other matches, such as, of course, a no disqualification match between Joe Hendry and Dion Lennox. The TNA International Championship is on the line, and plenty other matches as well. And then, of course, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates. Give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what offensive promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In the world of wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information has been unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So it's going to be, of course, a one review episode only. So let's get started with NXT. So let's get to it. All right, NXT. It's been nearly 1 week, of course, since Oba Femi has relinquished the NXT Championship. But the real question is, we ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Well, General Manager Ava is now determined to see who is going to step up. But however, it appears that someone is trying to determine, hey, give me back the title because I was the last champion before him. Well, it does not work that way. If you guys know who I'm referring to, we're talking about Ricky Saint. So, however, the idea what she plans to do is set up a series of qualifying matches to set up for a 6-man ladder match. Basically, 6 individuals will be in the ring to pull down that title and become the new NXT champion. So, but of course, it later became a ball for all on this one. So basically, everybody's fighting for that spot. And of course, General Manager Ava, as you know, is taking that as a priority. But of course, I wouldn't be surprised if her stress level is getting high because by the time she was dealing with it, apparently she had a little bit of an update from Mr. Stone about Blake Monroe. So, of course, that's happened. But if you guys noticed something while that was happening, going around, behind her, you see Tony D'Angelo, which was weird, but I wouldn't be surprised exactly what's going on over there. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch. So we'll stay to it. Now, Our first match, we have Kalani Jordan versus Lola Vice. Now, this whole thing happened because, as you know, Lola Vice has been leading the charge over the situation that's been going on regarding, of course, with Kalani Jordan. They have dealt with each other, but this time, of course, Kalani Jordan thought she had this one match when she tried to use the rope as an assistance, but it backfired because she was distracted by the referee trying to get under his skin. Well, uh, Lola Vice applied, of course, the back fist, and just like that, one, two, three, it's over. And now she has a direct aim against Izzy Dame. So this is something she has talked about a week ago. Now, our next match is for the WWE Men's Speed Championship. We have Tavion Heights versus Jasper Troy. I thought this match was incredible. I mean, who knows what would have happened? Some people might have thought that Jasper Troy may have lost this one, but no. Tavion Heights, I have to say, he did a pretty good job. Tried to do whatever it takes to put him away, but things didn't go according to plan because Jasper Troy applied, of course, a black hole slam, and just like that, one, two, three, it was over. But as soon as the match was over, Tavion Heights was getting himself back together. He was maliciously attacked from behind by Lexis King. If you all remember, Lexis King lost to him in that number one contendership spot. So basically, that's what led to the whole thing. So we'll see where it goes from there. Now, Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray were, of course, making their presence known to Ava, but however, before they enter her office, they were, of course, stumbled upon both Saria and, of course, Soruka, tried to determine who will be the next challenger for the NXT Women's Championship. But however, of course, JC Jane was there. But Ava decided to have a little interesting. Apparently, she did state it. She talked to, of course, the director authority of TNA, Santino Marella, saying that they're looking for number one contenders, the challenge for the TNA Knockouts tag team titles. So apparently, we have the members of Fatal Influence, Ren Sinclair, and of course, Zarya and Solruka. So that's going to be a number one contendership for next week. Now, Lexis King was, of course, getting on the getting involved with, of course, Chase U all about what just transpired. But of course, uh, Stacks got into his face, trying to say that all this and that until Mr. Stone told him Mr. Stone was minding his own business until he saw Miles Bourne said he wants a shot to be involved in of course, in those series of matches for the NXT Championship. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, we did see a video promo from that French wrestler. Many of you may know. At the time, he was known as Aglin Black. He goes by the name of Elio Lafleur. So basically, he'll be making his presence known soon in NXT. Now, Ethan Page, as you know, with his ego, let's just say that he wants to be part of that whole series for the NXT Championship. But Ava kind of told him that he doesn't qualify because apparently, he is still the North American champion. So he cannot have both belts. So he had to relinquish one or the other. So Ava decided the next week he'll be defending the North American Championship against Elio Lafro. This is something, of course, that Ethan Page probably did not want, but apparently it's going to happen. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, Blake Monroe, as you know, let's just say that she is saying there's a controversy involving her because of how things transpired last week. Now, remember, last week she attacked the maliciously in hopes that maybe she'll just hand over the NXT Women's Championship back to her, which, of course, for Ava, that doesn't work for her at all. And then, of course, she was upset at the fact that she was kicked out. And then there was the open challenge, that sort of thing. Until she was interrupted by Jada Parker, who we have seen for quite some time. And now she's back. It looks like that she's not going to let someone like Blake Monroe try to take her spot or something. But it is what it is. So you probably wouldn't expect that coming from her. So we'll see where that leads to that. Now we jump into our TNA International Championship. Stacks defends his title against Shallow Hill. As you know, recently, not too long ago, these two guys were involved in a mixed tag team match. And of course, Shallow Hill and his tag partner, forgot her name, defeated them. But now this is where things get serious. And of course, Ariana was in tow, not to mention she did get involved on various occasions. And then we did see a little bit of a reference between Shawn Michaels and Melina. If you guys remember that moment where Shawn Michaels was put his wraps around Melina, and then of course they go, ah! We kind of saw something similar like that again. It happened before with, of course, what's her name? With Rhea Ripley and I forgot who else, but that kind of went back to that too. And then of course we did see Grace remove like what could have been a slight win for Charlotte Hill in this match, but it was Ariana that got involved and into the inside cradle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our newly crowned NXT North American Women's Champion makes her presence known, addressed the fan base about certain wrestlers such as Thea Hale, Lola Vice, whoever stands in her way, but the one person that, of course, let's just say still has some unfinished business with her, that is, of course, Tatum Paxley. So all hell has broken loose when that happens. So we most likely will see a match between those two, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, we did see Ricky Saints getting an interview. Of course, he's probably not happy with the fact that he did not get exactly what he wanted, which, of course, was for Ava to hand him over back the NXT title. But no, but he did stated that he's going to be involved in those ladder matches regardless. So basically, he already secured his spot. And of course, Stax is not happy to hear that coming from him. And then later, he said that, but of course, um, what's his name? Ricky Saints heard that Charlotte Hills is involved. It's like, wait a minute, I defeated that punk. I should be in it. So basically, it didn't happen. And then Lexis King showed up, said they needed to talk. I don't know exactly what they're planning to. We know those two are involved as the NXT Outlaws and TNA. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, we did see some interesting updates from some backstage person named Blake, revealing that, of course, Tatum Paxley has been, how do I say, kicked out of the building. And then, of course, Vanity Project has announced that they are now signed in NXT. And then they say they're going to involve themselves in the NXT Championship qualifiers. And then Kiana Carver showed up. Well, you can guess how that turns out. Now we jump into the North no disqualification match between Dion Lennox and Joe Hendry. Now remember, of course, the no disqualification match. Of course, this was set by design, knowing the fact that Darkseid couldn't get involved. But Joe Hendry came up with the perfect solution. He talked to, of course, OTM last week. If you guys missed it, let me explain what happened. OTM are not, let's just say, not in, let's say they don't give a damn about Joe Hendry, but Joe Hendry gave them a perfect opportunity of a mindset, saying, look, if you guys get yourselves involved in this, you'll be one step closer to challenge for the NXT Tag Team title. So they're like, okay, now you're speaking our language. So basically, if they interfere in Darkseid's business, well, most likely Darkseid had no choice but to acknowledge them. So that's something that Joe Hendry was smart enough to use. And of course, it was going to happen regardless. But in the end, we did see something unusual. We did see, of course, what's his name? Tony D'Angelo showed up out of nowhere and took out Dion Lennox. Then he took out Joe Hendry, but he put Joe Hendry right on top of Dion Lennox. Don't know what this was about, but Joe Hendry won the match by pinfall, and then security tried to to escort Tony D'Angelo, but Tony D'Angelo took out the security, and just like that, it was over. So I don't know what's going on in that front, but obviously it seems that we just don't know exactly what Tony D'Angelo's agenda is. So we'll find out soon enough. But until then, we'll end things here and move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, as always, with some upcoming events, starting with GCW. Now, as you know, on the 18th of January in Wichita, Kansas, they'll be making their way for a Crime Wave. They just announced two matches. The first one is, of course, Matt Tremont taking on Brick Savage. And then we have a tag team, Cowboy, which features, of course, one called Manders and Thomas Shire. They face against Unsigned and Don't Care. I don't even know who these guys are, but a very interesting name. And then, as you know, they'll be making their way to Hartford, Connecticut the following month on the 28th of February for Baller Blocking. I don't know exactly, but they did announce who's going to be there. We have the faction known as Vandal 48 that features the Koger brothers, Acticus and Otis, and forgot who else, uh, Christian Napier or something like that. But yes, we did have Bear Bronson, Matt Tremont, Effie, and of course YDNP, which is Jordan Oliver and Alec Price. And then we have, of course, some West Coast Pro updates here. As you know, they'll be making their way on early February on the 7th for Bay Area Brawl. We have Lee Moriarty versus Jaya Jewel. The West Coast Pro Women's World Championship will be defended. Johnny Robbie defends her championship against Gabby Forza. And then also they announced Walt Commanders will be there too. And then, of course, later on the 27th of February for Evil Empire, Alpha Zoe and Vinny Marcero has been scheduled to be there. So that's going to be interesting. CML has announced for their upcoming event later on this month on the 28th for Fin de Semana Internacional, which features, of course, the CML World Welterweight Championship on the line. Titan will defend his championship against Commander. So this is going to be a very good one. Stardom has announced, of course, on the 25th of this month, the CML Japan Women's title will be defended. Azuki has made the nomination earlier this month that Olympia will be her opponent, so it looks like it's official. MLW has announced for Battle Riot that will take place on the 20th of January, which is not too long, not too far off. They just announced Mark Coffey will be participating. If you guys remember him, Mark Coffey was in NXT UK and NXT with his brother Joe and Wolfgang, known as Gallus. So this is going to be this was of course a surprise for me to hear he is doing well. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do. Then of course we have the Jersey Championship Wrestling, the Superpower Slam on the 1st of February. Several things have been announced. We have a 6-man tag match. Commander will be teaming up with Rey Horus and Mascarita Sagrada. They take on, of course, Gringo Loco, Vengador, and Latigo. Then we have Ninix XS and Gabby Forza. And then we have, of course, Matt Tremont versus LeBron Cozo. And they did announce Commander will be present. He has, he is going to be in it anyway. Then finally, we have the New Japan, the New Beginning USA that will happen on the 27th of February. Shuri, our double champion of the IWGP Women's Champion, and New Japan Strong Women's Champion will be there. Now, it's still undetermined if she's going to put both titles or one of the titles on the line, so we'll wait to see. But later, they did announce on this particular day that the New Japan World Television title will be defended. El Fantasma will defend the belt against Konosuke Takeshita. As you know, they had an amazing rubber matches they had, dating back from one of the G1 matches from a year ago all the way to now. So can't wait to see that. So that's pretty much it for upcoming events. So let's move on to, of course, to some developments. Starting with the Fightful Select report. Cedric Alexander, many of you know, who was part of the 205 Originals, now at TNA. He has re-signed with TNA, so basically he's going to continue wrestling with them. What else? Oh yeah, Motor City Machine Guns was announced that they'll be doing some scheduled date with a AAA. We just don't know when or where, so we'll stay close to that. And then finally, this new person named Tatevik has now been assigned with AEW. Many of you may not know her. She appeared in OVW, which is Ohio Valley Wrestling, and of course WOW, which is Women's of Wrestling. So she's now with that. Now TNA even announced that they re-signed Hometown Man, which is very interesting. 01, many of you know this promotion based out of Japan, which is Pro 01. Many of you may know this or not, they are now allowing to have a women's division, so they're stepping into this world, and they just announced a brand new trainee named Hori Konomi. According to this, she'll be making her debut on the 17th of February in Itabashi. She was a recipient of one of the Miss Tokyo Sports 2025, so that sort of thing. And then finally, many of you know the Rascalz. Apparently, this is what PW Insider reports about that. So let me pull it up for all of you so I can read it. It seems that the Rascalz are no longer in TNA. There were reports about that recently. Let me pull it up. This is what they said. The belief amongst those spoken is the Rascalz are no longer contractually bound with TNA. Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel had deals expiring at the end of 2025. It was said that TNA did not option to those deals to continue. Myron Reed's Twitter currently lists him as a free agent, so it would appear he's not under contract deal either. Desmond Xavier, formerly known as Wesley, was not signed with the promotion. They are still listed on the TNA website roster as of now, but the belief is that all four are free agents and clear to appear anywhere as they wish. So it seems that they're no longer with TNA, which is good. I mean, they could appear anywhere they want, and it's gonna be fun how things are gonna go with them. So can't wait. I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. All right, guys. So I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I think we have AEW Dynamite. Can't wait to see what's going to go down. Now, I have been watching what's going on social media, more specifically on X. There apparently there's going to be a press conference regarding about Natsupoi and Shingo Tagagi's marriage. If you guys saw that news update I posted not too long ago, like recently, talking that they're married. So it seems there'll be more information. I'll be talking about that press conference. It's been translated already, from my understanding, but probably will be translating, I think. But hopefully, I get the exact full details. And there's still people congratulating them on their, of course, on their marriage, and I'll get to those guys too. But anything else, that's pretty much it. So, of course, new updates on Shingo Tagai and Natsuko, that will be a separate thing. But the next episode will feature, of course, AEW Dynamite. If there's any other promotions I might review, we'll see how that rolls. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is, and I'll say this, that I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.